I have with me today at Super Return US, Ivor Orchard, the chairman of Kerogen Capital. Now, Kerogen invests in international energy opportunities, and last year they closed a $1 billion fund. Ivor, can you tell me, I think I saw in your report that 95% of the proven petroleum resources are outside the US. Most of the growth in hydrocarbon demand is coming from Asia. Yet what I'm interested in is why has there been so little private equity activity in this space?
Yeah. Interesting question, Ben, but I think the fact of the matter is that the private equity model has really been developed in the United States and in North America, and certainly the returns that energy sector has, or that the private equity has generated from the energy sector over the last decade and more in North America have been stellar, and that may well continue. But as you indicated, for example, the simple fact of the matter is over 90% of the world's proven oil and gas reserves lie outside of North America, and there are a lot of smaller, technically talented entrepreneurial companies that are opening up new plays in the international sector. So I think from a diversification point of view, it makes a lot of sense for LPs to take some exposure to the international oil and gas. But yes, you're right, at the moment there's very little competing private equity in our space. I think that'll change, but for the time being at least, we have the rest of the world to invest in.
Okay, and in that space, where do you see the biggest opportunities for Kerogen?
Well, from a diversification point of view, we allocate across, we're a $1 billion fund, as you mentioned. We look to allocate across 7 strategies, which we sort of predetermined 2-3 years ago. We, based on a sort of bottom-up analysis, a screening of a lot of opportunities, we elected to invest over those particular strategies, and that's what we're executing on. Inevitably, it's driven by geology. But in terms of geography, it translates into Southeast Asia, which is our backyard. Our head office is in Hong Kong. We also have a technical team in London. Southeast Asia, Central Asia because of the nexus with China, the Middle East and North Africa because clearly that's home to a lot of the world's resources, and then Africa, both West Africa, where there's been a huge amount of exploration and appraisal success in recent years, and more recently East Africa.
Okay.
So that's really our geography, coupled with, in the conventional sense, or conventional resources. We also look to invest probably around 30% of our portfolio in unconventional.
Okay. Can you just describe some of the skills you've got in your team that enable you to find these opportunities?
Right.
And also then obviously help your investee companies as well.
Yeah, sure. Well, as a team, we're headquartered in Hong Kong. A lot of the team were with me at JP Morgan in Asia, where I ran the energy and natural resources investment banking business. But the team comes from different parts of JP Morgan, not only in investment banking, but in asset management itself, distressed debt, etc. So we have a lot of complementary skills. A number of us have also worked in industry. I was with Shell for 10 years before I moved into investment banking. And then we have a technical team based primarily in London. We see having our own technical resources is very important, both in due diligence and in asset management. In addition to board representation on our portfolio companies, we always look to form a technical operating committee with our portfolio companies where our team is involved, not necessarily in the decision making, but at least in the discussion of all opportunities before they go to the boards of the companies in which we invest.
Okay, final question then. What are going to be the greatest challenges in executing your strategy?
Right. Yeah, well, that's, I think, as I said, we determined essentially where we wanted to invest from a point of view of diversification as we set out on the strategy for this fund 2-3 years ago. There are a plethora of opportunities, so we screen from bottom up. It's always a question, of course, of making the right investment and getting the right diversification within the strategy. I talked about 7 strategies. We anticipate that we will invest in probably 10, maybe 11 portfolio companies. So in the case of some strategies, more than one champion, if you like, for that strategy. But getting that selection right is important, living with our investments, adding value over the 3 to 5 year hold period to where we look to generate the returns. That's really the key challenge.
Great. Ivor, thank you very much.
Thank you, my pleasure. Thanks very much, Ben.